Guys, I got a Mercedes-Benz. This is a 2023 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van, and it's ready to take you on all of your adventures. Join me today to learn all about its quirks and features. How's my Doug DeMuro impression? So as you guys might know, my Ram 2500 was recently stolen, so I needed to replace the vehicle with something. So I've been tossing and turning between another heavy-duty truck or perhaps a Sprinter van build or a cargo van build, and I went ahead and purchased this beautiful 2023 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van. And so today I want to do a quick tour of the van with you guys and share a bit that I've learned, because I actually ended up doing a 500-mile road trip on my first day of ownership. So I've actually gotten to know the van quite well, and I think I put it through its paces just in its first day. And there's a couple things I've learned along the way already. These Sprinter vans come in different wheelbases and different engine configurations. They come in a 1500, a 2500, a 3500, a 3500 XD, and a 4500 chassis cab, so essentially like a big truck base. And the other thing to note is that they also have different wheelbases. So the wheelbase is measured from that wheel to that wheel, and there's a shorter version that's 144 inches. This is 170 inches, and then there's also a 170 extended. And so what that means is that there's a little bit, about 1.5 feet extra of cargo space, although it's the same wheelbase from front axle to rear axle. So again, this is a 3500 170, not the extended. I thought the extended was a bit too extra. This is also a high roof. So if you see this line here, the high roof gives you a little bit more space. It's about 6 feet 4 inches of head clearance in there, whereas the standard roof is this line right here that you see above, and that's only about 5 feet 3. So you can't really fully stand in there as like an adult. Maybe if you're more vertically challenged, but definitely if you're more average size, you're going to want the high roof in order to walk around more freely. Another thing to note for the 2023 year model is that they changed up the motor and also the transmission. So on the motor side, there's no longer the V6 diesel option. It's all inline 4. There's a gas and there's a diesel option, and there's also a high output diesel, which is a turbocharged diesel that has 211 horsepower and 322 pound-foot of torque, and that's what we have here in this 3500. And the reason why I wanted to get a 3500 is because of the increased payload capacity, and that's really, really important if you plan to build on top of your van so it can carry more weight, cargo, personnel. And on top of the 3500, I actually got the 3500 XD, which is the dually option, so it has this really beefy axle in the back, and it also has 4 wheels. And what that's going to do is going to increase the payload capacity up to about 4,200 pounds the way this is currently spec'd out, and it can tow 7,500 pounds. It's super beefy, so you can load quite a bit of things into it. So those are definitely things that you'd want to consider when you're looking at different cargo van lengths, options, and the size, whether it's a 1500, 2500, or 3500. You don't necessarily need a 3500 unless you really want that increased payload capacity. All right, so let's take a look at the actual van itself. So the other thing to note is that Mercedes also makes a Sprinter passenger van, which is meant for carrying people and kind of shuttling people, and this is the cargo van. So let's start there with the cargo part. So here you have the sliding door, which here it's a manual one. There are options to go with like an electric one, but you know, that's more things to break and also just more expensive in general. Inside the cargo hold area for the 170 wheelbase, we have 13 feet and 9 inches of cargo length, which is significant. That's really, really, really big. That's like more than double the cargo bed of my Ram 2500 that this is replacing. And from the back here, you have these 2 really large swinging doors. So you can open it here, one. And the cool thing about this van is that it can actually swing all the way out to there, and it stops there nice. And so it really opens up the cargo area to make it easy to load, and that's quite convenient. So it opens all the way up, super wide, and you can kind of just walk in there, load your bikes, load anything you really want in there really easily. This is the factory flooring that comes with the Benz if you option it out. And this also has tie downs kind of everywhere, which is really, really awesome to already have out of the box, so you can just use it immediately to transport your bikes or whatever you need right away. So we have a little step up right here, so it's a little easier to step into it. And the other thing you might notice is that we have this giant bulkhead. So this is called a bulkhead, and it separates the driving area, the cabin, from the rest of the cargo area. And then up here, we really kind of don't have anything along the walls or the ceiling, and that's actually intentional. I didn't want the optioned panels because, oh, it's getting sweaty. That's actually intentional because I didn't actually want the walls and panels from the factory. I want to actually do my own. So that's a big part of the lure of this van, is that, you know, you can really make it the way that you want it to be. All right, so that's the cargo space. We'll talk more about it in a little bit, but let me show you guys the cabin as well. So here we are. This is what it looks like. You step into it. And this van in particular, I would say is like medium spec. So there's like these comfort seats. I think it's like a faux leather. We have the optioned 7-inch screen, which is good. It's not the best, but it's good. It's not nearly as big as, say, the Ford Transit vans. I think it's a 12-inch screen that they have, but this is good. You can also do the upgraded system with like the whole length of it, but I don't think it's necessary for the purpose for me. Anyways, summer is definitely here and it's getting really toasty. Okay, all right, so I wanted to share a little bit about the driving experience that I got, as well as kind of plans for the van and what I'm intending to do. What's the whole point of this, right? So essentially, you know, I'm replacing the truck, I'm gonna sell the trailer, and I wanted to consolidate the vehicle and the transport into a single thing, so that's hence the cargo van. Now, the whole adventure of getting this van has been pretty interesting. So you guys might know that, you know, like supply in general is pretty bad for cars, vans, really trucks, really anything right now. And so I had to kind of search far and wide for a van with this kind of specific spec that I wanted, right? I didn't want something that was too spec'd out, and I also didn't want like a 4x4 because it lifts the rear of the van by like 3 or 4 inches, which is significant. And also it's just not necessary with the stuff that we do, right? We're for motorcycle racing, I'm not doing anything on dirt, so I don't really need the 4x4. Basically, I had to find this van, and it was located in Lubbock. So all week I was in Las Vegas for a conference. So what I did was I flew from Vegas to Lubbock on Thursday night at like 7 p.m. The Mercedes-Benz salesman actually picked me up from the airport with the van, drove it back, finished some paperwork, and then I drove 8 hours from the Lubbock Mercedes-Benz dealership to Houston. So I definitely got a ton of seat time right away, and I definitely learned a lot about the van just from, you know, the first 24 hours of ownership, really. I think there's like a lot of really, really awesome things about it that I actually love already, and so I wanted to share those things with you. Can you see this? So the first thing is that this actually has wireless Apple CarPlay. I didn't start the car up yet, but it has wireless Apple CarPlay, which is awesome. This is actually the first year they made that available in a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van, so that's really convenient as well. The other thing about the van that I really enjoy is that there's just so much visibility. It's like absolutely bonkers. Like the windows are absolutely freaking enormous, and so you really have great view. The side mirrors work really well too. It actually also has the 2 windows in the cargo doors, and so that actually provides a ton of visibility. I was really surprised because there's basically a viewing port here through the bulkhead, and it works really well. You can see right through, and you have really good view of what's behind you on the road, so that's awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm like literally pouring sweat just being on that side where the sun is shining. So, okay, I'm hiding here in the cargo van. So actually, that segues to a really nice thing. So basically, what I like about the van is that there's CarPlay, there's wireless CarPlay, which is awesome. The visibility is really great from kind of all angles. The driving dynamics are actually really good. Like the transmission, it's a new transmission for this year. It's a 9-speed transmission, pretty smooth all the way through for like a commercial vehicle, honestly. The driving inputs are really smooth as well. Like taking corners on it was pretty fun, like going like a highway entrance. It wasn't like cumbersome or anything like that. It was actually pretty agile. You just have to be mindful of the length of the van. It's 23 feet and 9 inches. It is freaking long, guys. It's like a boat. So you have to be kind of just mindful when you're taking corners, right? So be mindful of that. The other things that I really like is that, again, so this is a dually, so it has, again, those 4 wheels. And so that means that it's going to be more stable and give you more traction. And why that's important is because this is a very tall vehicle. It's over 9 feet tall. It literally doesn't fit in my garage. And so you get a lot of wind blast, and it gets, you know, that becomes a real factor when you're driving like on highways and extended road trips. And so having the dually gives you just that much more stability, that much more kind of weight and heft, so that it's harder to kind of, you know, push around. And so, you know, in kind of the 8 hours of driving, it wasn't a perfect vehicle. There's kind of a few little kind of funny quirks with it. The windows are so reflective and shiny that at night, because the infotainment system is so bright, it actually reflects directly into your side mirror. And so it's kind of trippy and a little bit distracting, especially if you're trying to lane change towards your left, because you can see kind of reflections like really, really badly kind of everywhere. That kind of surprised me because the windows are so damn large. So that's the thing. The other thing is that the audio system is just garbage. So maybe if I do kind of spend a lot of time in it, I definitely would want to upgrade the audio system. It sounds really tinny. It's just bad all around. So I don't think you'd want to do like a huge cross-country trip where, like, if you find music important to jam to while you're driving, you'd probably want to upgrade the speaker system, which I probably want to do. Other things is that the brakes are pretty touchy. You know, it's not a performance vehicle, but it's kind of spongy and sudden at the same time, so it's not the best feeling, but you know, it's fine. It's a cargo van, it's a Sprinter van, it's not a Corvette or a track car. Something else to consider, another thing is that this step down is huge. It's like over 1 feet tall, so you really kind of just drop to the ground when you get out of the van. So I might kind of want to get running boards so I can install it here and kind of all the way through here too, so that it's easier to step in and out and load things as well. And then kind of like the final little gripe that I have with the van is that there's like a squeaky sound that you can hear when you're kind of on bumpy roads and it's like bouncing up and down. You can hear the squeaks. It's a little bit irritating. You definitely kind of tune it out, but it's there. And so that leads me to, what are we doing with this van in the first place, right? Like, why in the world in the first place, and what am I planning to do with it? So the fun thing about these cargo vans, whether it's a Sprinter van from Mercedes or it's a Ford Transit cargo van, is that it's really an empty template. It's an open slate for kind of your imagination and your needs and what you want to do with it, right? And also your budget, because it can get pretty pricey. What I'm planning to do with this is basically convert it into like a mobile garage slash cabin so that we can rest and relax and recover on like really grueling track days and race weekends and all that stuff, right? I don't think I want to build it out, you know, like completely with, you know, like a bathroom and kitchenette and all that stuff, because I'm not planning to live in it permanently or semi-permanently, but I do want to make sure that I can transport the bike safely, and I do want to make sure that we can rest in here comfortably, especially with how hot the summers get down south. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically do a whole build series for this van over time, and I hope you guys, you know, are excited, and I hope that, you know, if you're looking or you're interested in a cargo van, that this process that I go through is helpful for you. And I'll share all kind of the materials and what we do with it. I can't claim that this is going to be a completely DIY kind of project. Like, I'm definitely going to be leaning on some friends and some professionals for help here and there, mostly because of speed, because I do want to get this van sorted out. The sooner the better, because the summer is rapidly approaching. The race season continues, and there's just a lot to do, a lot to juggle right now. So the build's actually going to start tomorrow right away, and I'm just so excited to share with you guys. So stay tuned. If you kind of enjoyed this and you're interested in cargo vans specifically for motorcyclists, track day riders, racers, I think you'll want to stick around. So make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, it really, really helps, and I'll see you guys on the next video.